What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of the Amazon original movie Bliss. This movie, of course, is directed by Mike Cahill. Now, before we begin, hey, if you like this channel, awesome, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome, hit that like button as well as commenting below on any video to watch, including this one. Alright, so Bliss is an interesting movie because it's a movie that has a lot of spoilerish stuff in it. It's a movie that I can't really get into the full details of without actually spoiling the movie, so I will do my best to talk about this movie in the trailer sense form outside of what actually is happening in this movie. So Bliss is basically about a guy named Greg, who of course is played by Owen Wilson. He's a guy that's dejected. He recently divorced. His kids he doesn't really talk to him very much. And he's been fired from his job. His job feels like he's not really useful anymore and so on and so forth. It's very similar to like Life as a House if you think about it. And so through circumstances that are very spoilerish, he finds himself at a bar. And at this bar, we meet a character named Isabel, who is of course played by Salma Hayek. And Isabel is one of these characters who lives on the street. She is a woman that's very uplifting, very high-spirited. But according to the trailer, she holds a secret that she tells Greg, and it's the fact that she and Greg are what considered real humans, and that they're living in a quote-unquote computer simulated reality similar to something like The Matrix. So with that said, Isabel opens up Greg's mind into the realization or the possibilities of his family, the world around him, his job, everything that he's ever known is in essence not real. And so with this movie in a nutshell, it's a movie about a character kind of having his worldview opened and his realities kind of questioned. And in the process, they take a thing called Bliss, which is it's a drug that helps Greg kind of come to that realization that not everything is truly what it seems to believe. He's able to manipulate things. He's able to do things that aren't, physically possible. And it leads into some very interesting conclusions. It leads into some very interesting twists and turns, some revelations, and it leads into an ending that, for better or worse, is a very fascinating one. And it's something, like I said, I'll talk about in my spoiler review, my Ending Explains video. And so with that said, Bliss was a movie that I had really never heard of before. It was a movie that I saw the trailer for within the last month or two. But it's a movie that it's a type of movie that I truly kind of dig and really truly love, for the simple fact that it takes the worldviews, the world realities, the ideas and situations that we come to truly believe, and it starts to question things. It starts to make you question what is real, what is not. It uses your brain to kind of make you think about what you're seeing on the screen, what is being manipulated, what is not being manipulated, what is the overall experience, and it does it in a very thought-provoking way. Similar to stuff like The Matrix or Vanilla Sky, which I know a lot of people don't like, I really love. Time Crimes, Pi, Primer. It's movies that will make you kind of question, is what you're seeing on the screen the real thing, or is it a made-up reality, and is used in a very intellectual sense, but is still trying to entertain you in the process. And to be fairly honest, I really enjoyed the movie. It is definitely my cup of tea, but it has issues. It really does. When it starts kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of its realities and what it's trying to present you and what Isabel is trying to tell Greg, and how Greg's world is kind of, collapsing upon itself and rebuilding itself, and, him and his daughter, Emily, and stuff like that, and just the kind of how it's kind of manipulating the sense of everything around him. It starts to kind of unfold some revelations that don't entirely fit, that don't entirely feel right, and the ending can feel a little too ham-fisted, a little too convenient. And it's not necessarily saying the ending's bad, but the kind of ideas and kind of the thought-provoking moments of this movie are really, really fascinating. As soon as the movie starts, there's something off about this situation of this character. Something's not right, something's unsettling about it. There are certain things that happen that really just feel out of place. And like I said, it's not until when Isabel's character comes into the mix that things start to kind of really come into focus. And that's when the movie kind of hits its stride. It just has some really weird moments, really weird, strange things that it has to take to get there. And like I said, there are certain things that involve Bill Nye's in this movie, and the things that he's dealing with don't really make a lot of sense. And it's just a movie that's taking its thought-provoking ideas and trying to basically throw anything at the wall to see if it sticks. It's just not entirely successful. But with that said, what does work in this movie are Owen Wilson and Salma Hayek. Owen Wilson is fantastic in this movie because he's actually stretching beyond the limits of what we know Owen Wilson for doing. But to me personally, this is one of Owen Wilson's best performances. You know, has he done dramatic work before? Absolutely. He's done a lot of dramatic work, especially working with like Wes Anderson and stuff like that. But he's a guy that is known for mostly doing outrageous comedies, and to see him similar to like Adam Sandler, to Jim Carrey, you know, these people that will take the idea and try and stretch beyond their limits of doing dramatic work, I think he does a really nice job here. And it's really interesting to see him kind of expand his kind of comfort zone and go into something really, truly dramatic and high concept and just something completely different than what we know Owen Wilson for doing in his, career as an actor. And then when it comes to Selma Hayek's one of those actresses that can go from dramatic to comedy to crazy to zany. And so this role for her it fits her pretty perfectly. It makes up for that role she did in Like a Boss, where she was so over the top and ridiculous that was actually one of the worst performances I saw last year. But because she's the crux of the movie, because she's the kind of beating heart of Greg and his kind of path and his journey in this story, I think Selma Hayek does a really nice job. Is it the best role she's ever done? No, stuff like Frida and Desperado and stuff like that, she's really good in. But I think she has an emotional core and emotional center in a very heartbreaking situation that even though you start questioning the ideas and motives behind who she is and what she is and why she's there and so on and so forth, I think she still gives a pretty great performance, and she really works well, has great chemistry with Owen Wilson's character, even though she goes a little over the top at some points. But overall, it's just... And so with that said, to watch what Mike Cahill is doing in here, how he's bending reality, how he's bending, the concept of computer simulations and stuff like that, how he takes the world around him and you're never entirely sure what's going on, what's real and what's not. It's a really, really well done movie. I think, outside, like I said, some few problems, I think Mike Cahill has really done some interesting kind of concepts here, and I think he does a nice job with like the cinematography and the look and the feel of the movie itself. And it's a movie that really does a nice job, and it actually fits pretty well with the movie I just talked about, which just came out, which I just put out a review for, which is A Glitch in the Matrix, which talks about the very same thing of computer simulated realities, of us constantly being on our phones and looking at the world of the Matrix and so on and so forth. So an idea like this fits truly, kind of represents well with a story like A Glitch in the Matrix. So, but that's it. That's my take on this non-spoiler review of Bliss. I will do an ending explains video for this movie, at least my best thoughts and ideas of what's going on. But let me know in the comments below what you thought of this movie. If you decided to see it, did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? If you didn't understand what's going on, and the explains video is coming eventually. But anyways, let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.